Good afternoon, everybody. Super Bowl Sunday. So I want to talk to you about how the narcissist gains a lot of power in the beginning of the relationship. And what they do is they get you to trust them, or for you to trust them, and then for you to fall in love with them. Very quickly, they do this as a big chore for them. And during that time, they are infatuated with you because they think they found their ticket to success. Bear with me, I'm not feeling too well today. So you are their ticket to success, and they think that you're going to be able to solve their problems. From here on out, they're going to turn into a successful individual. But nevertheless, they have to follow their same old patterns. So it's hard for you to believe that, they feel like they're going to become a success, but they are still following their old patterns, which kind of is a paradox, right? But they get you to fall in love with them very fast, very quickly. And then they start to breadcrumb you, ghost you. They do the hot and the cold with you, intermittent reinforcement, and that sort of stuff, so that they get you guessing and second guessing and getting you feeling all in your feelings. Things aren't the same. And what can you do to fix it? Because you're not getting any answers, because the narcissist doesn't give you anything. Then they turn into, well, they've always been pretty much somebody who didn't give you any information, but now it still continues. And because it still continues, sick, y'all. Because it still continues, you're kind of left up to your own devices to decide, but your own tools to try to figure out what's going on here. You ask them stuff, they give you nothing, or they give you something that sidetracks you enough to where, again, you don't know anything. So then all you know how to do is they want it to be left up to you. And for it to be left up to you, see, they pick a certain kind of person. What they do is they go for people that can be cast under the spell, that grow up in these types of families, and they have the ability. You know how there's kind of like you have these antigen antibodies, right? And they click in together, and they're able to take care of certain situations. In the situation with the narcissist, they look for people where they can turn on this spell with you. You're susceptible. I feel like that if they feel like you're susceptible to the spell and you're their type, because they do have a preference, maybe not a type, but they prefer certain things. And if you embody that, then they'll go for you. But they also know what they can and can't do with you before they even get started. At least that's what they think in their mind. Now the challenge for them is how much growth do you have and how much awakening do you have during that time you're with them. This is what can change the whole scenario, and it turns them on their head. It puts them upside down, because that's what they do to you. They put you upside down. So when you go into the relationship, they look for somebody that they can drag in. This is what they want. They drag you in, and then they just do enough to drag you in, right? That's what the love bomb is. The love bomb is just enough to drag you in. And they got to do it quick, and they got to do it fast, and it's got to be come in real quick, come in real fast, get you to love them and trust them, have good sex with you. That's just enough of what they've done. Besides that, but when you try to get into their history or anything about them, you'd get very little, right? It's like pulling teeth. Well, that continues, and it gets worse. So that indifference starts to grow. Non-giving of information and indifference gets worse and worse between you and them. So then you start to chase. You see, the devil can't come to you with horns and a red face. But they're just like him, exactly like him. So if the answer is here you go. If you're confused, run. If you're unhappy, run. If it's if you don't understand, run. If you don't get equal reciprocity, meaning you're giving all this stuff and you're getting nothing, run. If you feel like it might work, but you don't know because it's like this, run. A relationship should be easy to understand, and a relationship should be easy to know in which direction it's going. If it's right in the middle, it's evil. And if it is confusing, or the reciprocity is off, the energy is off, it's drawing you away from God, it's bad. It's not good for you. Just run. I think that we like to throw a lot of these other things in there, later. Like, we know it's bad, but I'm getting older. Well, it ain't gonna be any better. If you get headlong into another one, you gotta take 10 years to get out of it. But yeah, they drag you down into this stuff, and then they get real indifferent with you. And then you start chasing them, and you do this hot and cold. And then they do this push and pull with you, where y'all break up, and then they come and go a little bit. They'll reach out to you every few weeks, and then they'll leave, back off, come back in, back off, coming back in, back off. But why do they do that? They do that because they can't give you a relationship. They don't have the tools, y'all. They're inadequate. They don't house the tools in their vessel. When you don't have the 9 fruits of the Spirit, and you don't have your inside voice and your innate spirit, when you are nothing but pure evil, all you can do is touch and go with people to try to hold on to them. But then that jacks up their endocrine system if they go into it with you, because that's consent, you see. You don't need to be with somebody that you know you don't need to be with, but that intrigue is what's drawing you in, right? That's seduction. Seduction, intrigue, and you probably had some good sex. Or they're good looking. I mean, it's like those are a lot of the main things you're dealing with narcissism. It's always the same crap, man. With evil people. They don't know what they got till it's gone. They think the grass is greener on the other side. They thought you were a piece of crap until you lift yourself up and then you stand up on your own. Then they want you. You see what I'm saying? It's always, that's how evil works. Those are evil people. They can't see the beauty in you in the beginning, and they have a plan to take you down or to just use you. And this is the thing. When people say, and I talked about this the other day, but where narcissists are transactional, and do they understand it or not? And I was dwelling on that because as a child, I grew up in kind of like a heavy type family of that stuff. And I think I got to a point to where I had to decide for myself with the Lord. It was around the time of I had gotten saved. I had just gotten saved, and I was dealing with some things. And what I was dealing with was I kind of had this thing going on myself. But when you grow up in these families, you have to do this. You have to wear a mask just to get by, in certain cases, because if you told the truth, the truth to the narcissist family hierarchy, you would never make it. You would have been in a ditch a long time ago. So when you grow up in these types of families, you're forced to lie and to wear masks as well, being the scapegoat, unless you're just really not smart. And because of that, when I got saved, really shortly after I got saved, the Lord changed a lot in me. A lot. I mean, I would have been one of them. And I don't think too much down the road longer. Not that I ever wanted to or I ever liked it, but I'm just saying, I think that if I didn't get saved, and I wouldn't have been able to maybe turn things around. I don't know. But I will say that I had gotten to a situation where I had 2 different kinds of friends. I had these church friends, and then I had these street friends, And it was like, I started processing this type of information, with my newfound love for the Lord, and I was like, wow, this is so bad. Like, but it was very hard to deal with because there is so much pride that can be built into us. And it's not like a pride to where I think I'm awesome. It's just a fear pride. It's a fear-based pride. And I had to deal with that. And I'm telling you, anytime I would deal with that fear-based pride, to break through it, I needed everything. I needed the Lord's help so much. And I remember I used to always feel like when I would go through breaking these chains, I would get these cold sweats. It would bother me so bad, and it would be so hard. And I think that was just from this stronghold that had been on my life, So, I mean, now I don't really care too much about pride and ego and all that. Just want to have good integrity. But when it gets to transactional, understanding transactional things, the narcissist, I will tell you this, the narcissist knows it's transactional, because I was down that road enough to know that what I was doing was transactional. But I knew it wasn't right. It's like I was able to see both the love side and a transactional side. But when you get into greed a lot, you get down a transactional road. And that will eventually take over your love side of things, if you allow it to. The problem with in a situation with a lot of cases, there is such in the case of mine, I was thrown into such an inferiority complex and situation as a child, and had the lack thereof of anything good in my life. And it was on purpose. That it was forcing me, or at least I felt forced into feelings of jealousy and greed for a time. And I think that's why I really couldn't wait till I got it. When I was the day I turned 14, I had my dad take me down to the city and sign off paperwork so I could work legally. I had just started the 9th grade because they weren't giving me anything. They weren't giving me my due reciprocity. And I had enough, y'all. When you have crappy stuff and nobody else does in your family, but you're forced to live like a dog, man. So I got a job as a dishwasher, man, and I broke my ass. And I still break my ass, but I worked hard. I worked almost 40 hours a week from the age of 14 and went to high school. And from then on, so. But yeah, it's transactional. They know it's transactional. They let these prides and they let sick, y'all. They let the flesh take over. If you don't know the Lord, then you're in trouble. And if you grew up in one of these families and you don't have a heart to know Him, you'll be evil, y'all. Evil. And there is no way to fix it. But they choose certain types. They choose a type of person where they can get to want to please them. They choose a type of person where they know they can spellbound them and they can get you running and chasing after them. But this is the thing, they can't give you that much. That's why they do this hot and cold with you after they leave you and call you and come back and call you and come back. Because they want to get you used to accepting that. That's all they can do. See, that's part of their downfall. That's part of where they run short, and they know it. So if they could practice this with you and you accept it, then it's okay. But if you start questioning about it, think of them a narcissistic injury because they don't have the ability to do it, because they don't have the tools anymore. They gave them up to the enemy. They don't have love, they don't have peace, they don't have joy, they don't have long suffering, they don't have patience, goodness, kindness, and they don't have good self-control. These things that it takes, these tools that it takes to have a real relationship, they don't have the ability to have. They're always greedy. I know this because I've been around them long enough to know. They're greedy, y'all. When they go into a situation, the situation in their mind is this: how can I leave here and take away more than what I came in with? And that's how their mind always thinks. So if you give me a like, subscription, thumbs up. Love y'all. Till next time. Peace. We out.